tomorrow.
Joe Montana goes 18 of 22 for 191 yards, runs for a touchdown, passes for another, and now he holds the NFL record for consecutive completed passes. Joe Montana with another NFL record, and you know, of course, he may be having his greatest season ever.
Yeah, and no one's saying anything about it. Remember the bad back last year and everything? He's come back completely healthy, set a consecutive passing.
A lot of quarterbacks around the league might say, get me to that back surgery.
That's right.
Philadelphia and the Giants now, they're at the half, and it's a one-point game with the Giants lead. Sims to Bavaro for the Giant touchdown on that one. Atlanta, Dallas, the Falcons scored 2 touchdowns within a 13-second time frame. A long pass to Dixon from Campbell, then the ensuing kickoff fumble, and they dash in for another touchdown. Washington, St. Louis, the Cardinals went ahead. A short time ago, 14-10. This was the play that did it, Irv.
But Lomax going to J.T. Smith, the leading receiver in the league, by the way. Neil Lomax right now, outside of Joe Montana, is the hottest quarterback in the league.
Why don't you go pay Lomax a visit one of them?
Well, I think I will.
All right, Kansas City and Cincinnati, and the Bengals 17-3 over the Chiefs. San Diego and Houston, and the Oilers lead that one 20-2 in the second quarter. Seattle and Pittsburgh, battle of the field goals. Big one here for the Hawks and the Steelers, 9-6. Indianapolis and Cleveland, and the Browns offense being shut down. Kosar last check had only about 75 yards passing in that game. In fact, it was 65 yards. I'm corrected on that. Now, in one other score at the half, the Lions lead the Rams 13-10. And when we come back now, we'll take a look at the most famous figure on roller skates since Raquel Welch starred in the Kansas City Bomber as the NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations. All right, welcome back to New York. Tonight is the big game in the NFC Central between the first-place Bears and the Vikings, who are right behind them. Now, on Monday, Chicago head coach Mike Ditka called the Metrodome a roller dome and thereby touched off the football controversy of the week, if you will. And as a result, Iron Mike has been hell on wheels. As word of Ditka's diversion spread, the corridors at the Bears' offices cleared out in a flash. The old all-pro tight end was wheeling and dealing with his old reckless abandon. And now with this, Coach Ditka, the good news is you look great on the skates. The bad news is all my friends in Chicago say you need a dome stadium on the lakefront.
Well, you don't have very, very smart friends in Chicago. We don't need a dome. Dome was the worst thing ever invented.
Why?
Terrible. It's bad for football. It's bad for baseball. Well, look at what happened in baseball. The great St. Louis Cardinals couldn't even win up here. That doesn't make any sense.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. I want to bring in somebody else here. Coach Jerry Burns, because the Minnesota Twins used that dome to win a World Series. Jerry, you play your football games in the dome. How do you feel about it as coach of the Vikings?
Well, we like the dome. We think it's a great place to play, and, you know, obviously the home fan advantage will be with us, but in spite of that, it's a very pleasant place.
All right. Now, Jerry, you know, we see you along the sidelines, and so does Mike, and we all know about Mike's personality, but I'm always curious about Coach Burns, and so we asked running back Darren Nelson, Burns, what's he like when he comes to practice? Listen to what he had to say, Coach.
Well, have you ever seen that guy on Taxi, Jim? You know, the guy's hair is all messed up, and he kind of wanders around. Every once in a while, he'll have something to say. That's who Jerry Burns reminds me of. He kind of just wanders around, and all of a sudden he comes in with a word here and there, some kind of quote or something, and it just comes right out of the clear blue sky.
Is that accurate, Jerry? You come out of the blue sky with a quote for your men?
Oh, I guess so. If Darren says so, I'll go along with it because he's having a great year.
What is your relationship with your players, Jerry? Mike Ditka, for example, is very upfront. What you see is what you get. He doesn't mince words. How do you react to your athletes in the heat of battle?
Well, you know, I hope we have a good relationship. You know, I treat them like men and treat them with the same type of respect that I would hope that they afford both myself and the rest of our staff. And I think our coach-player relationship is very good here with the Minnesota Vikings.
Jerry, let me ask you, what about Keith Millard? The allegation about the fight in the bar, will he play tonight against Chicago? What's his status?
Well, he won't play tonight because of a calf injury. It has nothing to do with the allegation that took place last Thursday night. And let me just say this, Millard is a great guy, and the entire team and the Minnesota organization is behind him in this matter.
All right, are you going to come out on roller skates tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll leave that to my friend Mike.
Hey, Mike, tell me a little bit about the Bears' problems in the offensive line. Jimbo Covert, I saw him leave. He was in pain.
No, Brent, Jim won't play. He's on the inactive list. We'll play Paul Blair there, and we'll back him up with a young man we brought up from the inactive list, John Wojciechowski. So we're really hurting in the line, and, you know, against good people like Dolman and Martin, it'll be tough. We realize how good their football team is, but we're going to do our best. That's all we can do. And the one thing about, you know, the fans in the Dome, it's a great home advantage if things go right. If they don't, it could be just like it was in Seattle the other night.
Yeah, and listen, tell your cameraman to pull back there so Jerry and I can see if it's true that you're going to wear those rollerblades. Iron Mike indeed. Mike Ditka and Jerry Burns, good luck. Big game up there tonight in the Metrodome. All right. Irv Cross, two class gentlemen there.
Well, they are, you know, but I was with Jerry Burns when the Bears beat them in the replacement game earlier in the year, and he was really despondent and really down. This time, he has his regulars at home in the Dome, and he's really souped up. He doesn't look like it, but he is.
Yeah, you know, some of you folks may not get an opportunity to see the Vikings as often as Irv and I do here. This is a maturing, good football team. Now let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Halftime at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 16-6. The 49ers in quest of their 10th victory of the season. They want to go 10-2 and perhaps cinch a playoff berth this afternoon. And it's really been a Joe Montana show thus far.
He can't do it any better. You know, when you set records and do what he's done, they start right out, though, with a good play-action pass. When they move the ball down inside that 5-yard line, fake the run, play and run, get the pass out to Rathman for the touchdown. Can't do much more.
Let's take a look at that first touchdown. It came at the end of the second drive for the 49ers. They started out with good field position. And Montana's stats for the first half, and he hit his first 17 in succession. Here was the one touchdown pass as he hit the fullback Tom Rathman, Dick.
Fakes to Roger Craig just to freeze people, slips him out there. There he is on a linebacker, 1-on-1, touchdown. Then they come back and highlight Montana again. They're going to come with a quarterback draw. Gets everybody all spread out, playing pass defense, takes a couple steps back, no back in the backfield, hops back, gets a trap block right there by the left guard, Sapulu, and he goes for the touchdown.
And the 49ers, after the missed extra point, were able to add a Ray Wersching field goal, and Max Zendejas has kicked 2 now for Green Bay. So our halftime score is 16-6. And the defense for the 49ers came in with only 14 sacks in the 8 non-strike games. And look already today, Dick, 4 for 19 yards.
And Bill was saying yesterday that the one thing that his team has been lacking thus far, though they're winning, is that they haven't been sacking the quarterback and they haven't been intercepting the ball and getting the turnover. Well, today, at least, they're sacking the quarterback.
So it's halftime, and it's a 16-6 lead for the 49ers. CBS Sports coverage of the NFL continues after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mitsubishi Motors, who invite you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered draft beer. It's as real as it gets. And by Kentucky Fried Chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken. We do chicken right.
Sellout crowd at Lambeau Field in Green Bay for the 49ers' first visit here in 11 years, and Joe Montana's first game here, and he has electrified this crowd with a 19 of 22 first half. And on third down conversions, the 49ers came in as the best in the league in converting them. They did nothing to ruin the average. They are 7 of 8 in the first half, and Green Bay, meanwhile, 0 of 6.
The 49er defense is also the best in the league at defensing the third down situation. Pretty good balance.
Joe Cribbs back to the 29-yard line. Of course, there's a lot of tradition here in Green Bay, and yesterday Bill Walsh and several of the players went to an adjacent building here called the Packer Hall of Fame.
Not many of these guys have ever been here. In fact, I think Randy Cross is the only player that's played here.
Right. Keith Von Horst, who's on injured reserve,
yeah.
was also here in '76, but they are the only 2 on the 49er team who played here at Lambeau Field.
Audible. Fumble. What happens in those situations, Joe pulled out. I don't know what audible mechanics they have, but many times your audible changes the snap count to a different number.
Green Bay. Robert Brown.
Boy, you don't want to start out a quarter doing that. Big play right there for Green Bay Packers.
Looked like a rugby scrum.
Either Joe pulled out early, you'll see him right here on the center, either he pulled out early or the center snap was late. Now remember, I did say that they audible to this play. The other thing that happens sometimes in pass protection, the center sinks their rear end in pass protection technique, and the hands quarterback move away from the tail.
From the 29, first down and 10. Green Bay Packers, Epps in motion. Paul Carruth tries to come right, and he's nailed. Jeff Fuller came up to force the play inside, and then Fonhorst helped make the tackle with Milt McCall.
Now, Fonhorst and those guys will get credit for making that play, but Milt McCall, 53, was really the guy that disrupted the whole play. He got into the pulling lanes of the offensive left guard, Rich Moran, 57, and the big tackle, and stuffed it all back inside. Good job of playing outside linebacker by Milt McCall.
2nd and 11 from the 30. Opening moments of the second half as Montana fumbles the center snap from Randy Cross.
Shotgun already on 2nd down and long.
Have to hurry to beat the clock. Delay of game again.
Now, sometimes that's the coach's fault. You'll get the offensive play in too late for everything to be decided in the huddle and called correctly, and then line up and get the snap off. I used to get called for that a lot because I call the plays myself, and I'm hesitating, trying to make the perfect call, get the right players in and all that kind of stuff. Oh, quarterback gets called for delay of the game.
That makes it a 2nd down and 16 after the fumble, which opened the second half. 49ers threatening a blitz. They're coming. Flags are down.
Bumble, pick it up.
I think this may be a dead ball foul.
Keith Euchre, the offensive right tackle, moved early.
Well, maybe they will let the play stand.
Now remember, on the left side of your screen, the offensive tackle right on the goalpost. You'll see him move. See, one snap prior, coming down to try to block Jeff Stover, number 72, trying to get the jump on the ball. Too early. In these situations, you should always try to get that football. You can never assume it's a dead ball call.
That penalty is declined. It was not a dead ball foul. Here's the turnover chart for the 49ers. -1 now, and that is current. And they've lost 81 points on those giveaways. 3 turnovers today. Don't expect that from a 9-2 team. 3rd and 12 after the declined penalty. And from the shotgun again. 4-man rush. Right, bumps twice, goes deep for Pasquette. Intercepted.
Beautiful defense. Tim McCarr, number 22, intercepting his 8th pass. You know something, Bird? It may not be true, but it looked like he set the quarterback up on this. It'll be now shotgun pass. Now watch the quarterback throw this up out there. As he looked over there, he appeared to be wide open, but McCarr was just gliding in position. The ball was thrown, and he made the move to the football. Fine pass defense by Tim McCarr.
That evens up the turnovers in the 3rd quarter at 1 apiece. Tim McCarr's 2nd pass interception of 87 has thwarted a Green Bay offensive thrust. And now the 49ers take over, enjoying a 10-point lead. 13-14 to go, 3rd quarter. Play fake. Montana into the flat. Tom Rathman. That might be enough for another first down. It is, as he's out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Tackle made by Mark Lee and Johnny Holland.
That's an old draw fake. Now notice now the halfback, in this case Roger Craig, is lined up deeper than the fullback. Here he is back here. Now he's going to slide down. He's going to come right through in the flat. Here he is right out in the flat, wide open. Good play action, throws everybody back to the inside.
1st down and 10. Roger Craig to the 33-yard line. That's a gain of 1. Johnny Holland, number 50, makes the tackle. 49ers so far have turned it over 3 times, but after each of those turnovers, look what has happened. Fumble resulted in a Packer punt, another fumble, a Packer punt, and the fumble here in the 3rd quarter, the Packer pass intercepted.
Bill Walsh said the defense had to shut them down, and so far they've done it. George Seifert, the coordinator, Ray Rhodes, the secondary coach, and McPherson, the linebackers, and Fred Von Oppen, defensive line, have done a super job of preparing the defense.
Montana in trouble.
Threw that away.
49ers are getting good play from some young offensive linemen. Look at Harris Barton, rookie.
Big offensive tackle. 280 pounds, an academic All-American. Not only big, but also very bright. Need that kind of young people, those kind of young people coming along. Look at him. I didn't hold him, sir.
Yes.
Either that or he surrendered. One or the other.
3rd and 9. 16-6. 12:25 to go, 3rd quarter. Dwight Clark short of the first down. 49ers will have to punt. Clark is tackled by John Anderson, number 59.
Dwight Clark last week became the all-time receiver with 6,681 yards, passing the great Gene Washington. Remember Gene Washington when he was a college quarterback at Stanford University playing for John Ralston, and they converted him to a wide receiver. Here's Dwight Clark, the new record holder.
Max Runiger on the punt, first one today.
Might as well earn his paycheck. He's the more stable guy, most stable guy I've been around that's been in a kicking position.
Do I get the idea kickers drive you nuts?
Yeah, they do. They drive all coaches nuts.
Stanley, it goes out of bounds.
I'm not unique in that. I'm unique in some ways, but not that way.
If there's a congregation of coaches who think kickers drive them nuts, they'd have to hire a huge hall. Sellout crowd again at this historic field. It's my first visit back here since December 31st, 1967. I was in the visitors' locker room to interview Don Meredith after the Ice Bowl game, and they had a Coke machine in there. It's still there. Only difference is it doesn't cost you a nickel anymore. It's a little more expensive than that. Almost intercepted.
Great play.
Higher.
Trying to execute that quick screen. Great play. Tim McCarr read that all the way, and he was attacking. Now you'll notice there's going to be play action. Now here come the linemen. See 65, Ron Holstrom coming out. He's going to try to get that kick out block. He can't do it. There's Tim McCarr reacting as he should, attacking the quick screen.
2nd and 10.
Ooh, the wind's coming up, Vern.
There goes the spotting chart. Draw play, Jesse Clark. Watch out, foot race. 2 men have a beat on him. To the 14-yard line. Jeff Fuller caught him a 57-yard romp.
All right, running back set to the left of the formation here. As you look at it, quarterback gets the deep snap. Here it is, good block at the point of attack. Here he's through. Now he gets, you can't see on this screen, he gets a great block to the left of the screen by Philip Epps, a wide receiver that had a knockdown block.
Paul Ott Carruth nudges forward to the 13-yard line. Jim Fonhorst and Keena Turner with the tackle.
We've seen both teams execute the long yardage shotgun run inside very well. First half by the 49ers, now 3rd quarter by the Green Bay Packers.
Atlanta has scored again, and they lead the Cowboys by 11, and St. Louis leads Washington by 7. Our score is 16-6 with 10:12 to go, 3rd quarter. 3 wide receiver set. Randy Wright has to wait, goes in the end zone, tipped incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Ed West.
Fine defense coming from the underneath. I think it was Jeff Fuller, number 49, that recovered. No, I tell you,
Turner.
It was Keena Turner that came from the underneath, released his receiver and worked underneath and batted that down. Fine defensive play by Keena Turner. Bill Walsh said this guy is playing the caliber of a Pro Bowl appearance. Boy, is he doing it. He'll appear now in the lower part of your screen. Number 58, Keenan Turk. Here he is, right-hand corner. Came off his coverage, saw the ball in the air, has the kind of movement, defensive reaction to get there.
3rd and 9. 16-6. 4-man rush. Wright steps up. Sack. Nope. Still loose. Fires it. And he was not in the grasp. That's a completed pass. It'll be 4th down. How about the effort of Randy Wright?
Yeah, I think Randy Wright, in my opinion, is stepping up into the pocket too soon. He's actually moving up into a collapsed offensive line. Here he is in the shotgun, directly in the middle of your screen. All right, now there's good pressure up inside there. See, there's pressure up. Now he steps right up into Stover, 72. Haley has a hold of him. He gets underneath Michael Carter. He might be better off staying back there just a little bit more away from those angry guys.
Pasquette makes the catch, and facing a 4th and 1, Randy Wright calls timeout so that Forrest Gregg and his coaches can talk this over.
I think, personally, they've got to go for it. They don't have a choice.
If you're 4, 6, and 1, you go for it, right?
Hey, yeah, especially against a 49er-style offense. Their defense is really good. You may not get down here again. 49er offense is real good. Chances are they're going to put another 7 on the board somewhere in this ballgame. You've got to go ahead and go for 4.
Officially, it is a 4th and 2 call. All right, put yourself on the sideline. You've chatted with Forrest Gregg. Ground game hasn't gone great until the Jesse Clark run. Think they'll go with a pass of some sort?
I think they'll run it.
Do you? Defensive changes being made now by the 49ers. They sent Haley in. 4th and 2. And the selection has been made, and they will go for it.
You know, it would be a heck of a call if you had guts enough to do it. Up here, I have guts enough to call it.
Okay.
All tight, everybody in there.
Play
like
action.
You're going to go and play action pass on 4th down.
All right.
Now, they won't do it, but, I mean, it'd be a heck of a call.
They have 1 wide receiver.
Trips formation set right, Bird.
4th and 2. Pitch out.
Great defense.
Boy, you know what that reminded me of? Notre Dame's try for the 2-point play against Penn State.
Yeah. See, they lined up in a strong formation, set right, defensive left. The defense adjusted properly. They tossed the ball, and here he comes. Here it is.
Stover.
You'll see the ball now being tossed deep into the backfield. That's a good call. 33, Jesse Clark getting the block. There's big run. Hallstrom trying to get the kick out. Now Stover comes inside out, number 72, and pulls him down. Good defensive play inside.
1st and 10, 49ers. Montana play fake. Pumps once, has to scramble. And they try and strip the ball of him at the sideline.
Gee, he really had a shot. He didn't recognize it, but he had a shot at John Frank going down the hole against a 2-deep zone coverage with play action. He didn't recognize it, but he had a shot to get a big one.
Johnny Holland made the tackle. Be a 2nd down and 6. 16-6, 9:20 to go, 3rd quarter. 49ers lead, and they just held to Green Bay on a 4th and 2. Backs are split. A lot of time. Could be intercepted. It is. Dave Brown gets his 53rd career interception.
Dave Brown has been the guy that sort of solidified the defense. They needed that corner. They had lost Lewis a year ago, the neck injury. He comes in and takes it. Now, set strong formation to the right. Both backs. Little play action up inside. Now he throws all the way across the formation to the left side there. That's a long throw. The ball's in the air a long time. Dwight Clark right there being covered tightly by Dave Brown. 53rd interception of his career.
1st down and 10, Green Bay trailing by 10. 3 receiver set again. Clark the only running back. White being chased by Michael Carter. Freelances. Stanley slipped. Made the catch. He made the catch.
They gave him in bounds, huh?
This might be a case for replay.
I think they'll check that one out. Now, both knees were in bounds, but Scramble situation now, all 22. Now you'll see to the top of your screen the two people that end up being isolated at the end of the play. Straight drop back. He says he wants to throw quick to his right. Now he goes into a scramble to his left. The receiver works downfield. The ball's thrown to the outside. Well, I'll tell you, that's tough. I couldn't tell if that was in or out.
Watch the end of it.
Take a look at the end now. There's the ball coming down.
I think he had it. I think he had it.
I don't know. That's tough. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll tell you, it's not conclusive that he didn't have it.
That's the point, isn't it?
That's the point.
Because in order to overrule the officiating crew, it's got to be incontrovertible evidence.
Right. Did you see that Stanley went into a scramble maneuver? He had run the discipline route called in the huddle. The quarterback scrambled to them. Then it was his assignment then to go ahead and break deep, and chances are other receivers come to him. The scramble breakdown. And that play is practiced on the practice field.
George Slatke is the replay official who's looking at it right now, and Frank Susi is the communicator.
Here it is again, the right corner of your screen. One knee down. He doesn't have the ball yet. Two knees down. He doesn't have the ball yet. I think he's out of bounds.
All right, we disagree in the booth. Here's the call.
After further review, the pass is completed.
All right.
Touchdown.
They had a better shot at it than we did.
John Madden has a word for this.
What's he
and
call
Art McNally will smile.
That's it.
1 knee equals 2 feet.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was so hard to tell. Good job by Stanley. Give him credit.
First and goal. 16-6 ball game. Carruth in motion. Clark with the ball. And he's down to the 2-yard line.
The 49ers are really tough to score on running the ball. They haven't given up a running touchdown in, what, 25 quarters? Am I right with that?
Right.
25. That's 6 games, right? 6 times 4. I learned that at San Jose State, huh?
Did you now?
Yeah, I'm smart. Can you believe that?
57,000 on hand. Another sellout here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And here come the Packers. Trailing 16-6. 8:32 to go.
All right, here's the time to throw it.
Carruth. Clark. No.
No, didn't get in. They're close. This is what the Packers need, though, to get back in the ballgame, because their history of this year has been ineffective offense in the third quarter. If they could score now and get going, this could be the momentum change that we talked about that they have to come up with. Here's the line surge, a good defensive tackling right there. They stopped it from getting into the end zone. Good penetration underneath by the defensive lineman.
Green Bay hasn't converted a third down in the game. They're 0 of 8, and they've got an inch to the goal line.
Probably quarterback sneak this.
Touchdown! Carruth gets his second touchdown on the ground this season. And Max Zendejas is on to try and draw the Packers to within 3. This set up by the Dave Brown interception. After a 4th and 2 failed. No good!
We've had 2 extra points missed in this game, and as I said earlier, you tend to sit up here and assume that the extra point is going to be good. There have been 25 missed prior to this ball game in the league. It's not automatic. Here they are, just up over the top, giving it the ball deep into the backfield. He gets up over the top of there. Good blocking in the front, kept the defensive lineman down, the linebackers off the line of scrimmage. Touchdown.
And here's Forrest Gregg on the sideline. Good call, touchdown, but the extra point no good. Max Zendejas will kick off. 7:41 to go, third quarter. Missed extra points and field goals, cost him his job in Washington a year ago. He just missed one here.
He's not in a very secure situation here, I'll tell you that.
Cribbs lets it bounce. And when he covers it, that'll be a touchback.
Good move.
Ray Wersching hit the left upright for the 49ers in the first half. And here's Max Zendejas moments ago.
The hold looks good, Vern. It doesn't appear to be anything wrong with that. The ball's kicked. good snap, good timing. He gets it down nicely, gets his right hand off, and here it comes. It just doesn't come around. Now, if he'd have been in college with the extra 4 foot 10 inches there, that'd have been good, but it's no longer in college.
49ers have had their problems in this half thus far. And there's a graphic demonstration of it. Here's Montana back. Shovels it to Rathman. Johnny Holland hits him at the shoulders and knocks him down.
See, he wanted to go deep. He wanted to go deep over there. Jerry Rice, working on Mark Lee, was covered. He didn't want to throw it down there. Goes to the layoff.
7:15 to go, third quarter, 16-12, San Francisco leads it. Downfield, Kenny Stills covering John Taylor.
You know, many times if you can get nailed as a defensive back for doing it. I've seen that called. Now, that wasn't a vicious hit.
A nudge, huh?
A nudge.
Second down and 5. Rathman. Flag on the far side of the field. And
inside trap.
See what we've got.
Illegal motion, number 79.
That's Harris Martin.
Harris Martin. We were just bragging about you, Harris, being an NCAA academic All-American. Come on.
That'll wipe out the Rathman run. Barton, the rookie out of North Carolina. Update you on other scores. Atlanta going for its 3rd win of the season.
Boy, do they need it.
Marion Campbell does. Yeah. Houston piling it on San Diego. Second and 10, rather. Blitz. Montana shakes it. Jump pass, tipped away. Looked like something out of the early 50s.
Murphy, number 37, will be coming in there. I think he's lined up right here. Action. Now, here he comes up inside. There he goes right after the quarterback. Tough to pick him up. Too many guys blocking over to the one side in front of the action. He jumps up and gives it the old alley-oop.
Somewhere in Seattle, Don Heinrich is smiling.
Yeah.
3rd and 10. Play fake. Scramble again. Rathman. Short of the first down. 49ers will have to punt.
I tell you, you feel a momentum change here. The crowd is changing. Listen to the crowd, Vern. It's time to rally for the 49ers. Look at all the orange in the stands. It must be deer season.
I think it just ended. And Max Runniger is on to punt for the 2nd time today. Walter Stanley waits for it at the 30. High snap. Not a great punt. See what kind of roll he gets. He doesn't get much. And that'll come to a stop at the 34-yard line. Now, did it hit a Packer?
No, they're signaling the other way around.
Harry Sidney thought it had gone off one of the Green Bay uniforms. It will be Green Bay's ball.
The way the Green Bay Packers are playing, Vern, really tells us and shows us what we were talking about earlier, that the attitude of the squad is a good attitude.
.5:34 to go, 3rd quarter. Green Bay has the ball, trailing by 4. First down at the 34-yard line. Toss, Paulot Carruth for a couple.
Fine linebacker play again by Keena Turner. It was on Ed West, the tight end. Did a real nice job of playing that. Keena Turner, number 58, lined up over here, doing a real nice job of playing linebacker, getting help. Now see him step out there. He's not allowed to be hooked. He's got the defense, a tight end whipped. He moves back inside and makes the play. Good outside linebacker play.
That's a gain of just 1. Keena Turner, only 218 pounds. Not big for a linebacker at all.
Good leverage, though. Good knee bender.
2nd and 9, 16-12, 49ers lead. Carruth, lined up as a flanker, goes in motion all the way across the backfield. Blitz coming. Randy Wright goes left, bumping. Flag. Don Griffin.
Don Griffin, who's a fine young corner. evidently got his left hand on him.
Pass interference, number 29. First down.
Here's the ball crossing the middle of your screen, coming down. Griffin moving in on the play. I think he had his left hand on it. No, it's away from him. Must have just been his body up against Stanley's body before the ball got there, but also that ball was not catchable.
That's a good point.
No way could you catch that football.
I'm sure they caught that point on the 49er bench. First down after the 29-yard penalty. Stanley in motion, followed by Griffin. They fake the pass, hand it off to Paulot Carruth, keep it on the ground down to the 43. Redskins in St. Louis involved in a heck of a battle. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, Vern, Washington made like the Atlanta Falcons, a couple of touchdowns within about 15 seconds. Now watch Jay Schrader. Does he enjoy this one? And then little John going on in the end zone. 24-17 Skins, back to Vern.
All right, Brent, our score is 16-12 with 4:18 to go. Third quarter, 2nd and 7. From the 43 of the 49ers. Wright stumbles, gets his balance, and goes deep. Man-to-man coverage, and a battle in the end zone. Incomplete.
Almost had the interception. The 49ers had a strong safety blitz on that time. It was picked up with a play action, but that forces a single coverage. Don Griffin did a real nice job of covering that. You'll see what I mean here. Fuller will come from over here, get pressure, picked up by the pass protection, the play action in the backfield. Here he comes, Fuller trying to work underneath it. He acknowledged the run fake. Now the ball going to the right corner of your screen. Coming down, good coverage, good position right there. Almost intercepted the football.
Frankie Neal, the intended receiver, the rookie. And there's Don Griffin, who made the fine play. 3rd and 7. Shotgun again.
The Packers haven't been very effective on 3rd down.
Wright goes right side for Pasquette. Oh, incomplete. McKyer and Pasquette battling. And McKyer wanted the interference call.
Yeah, he's upset. Don't lose your cool. Forget about it. Coaches are the only one allowed to lose your cool.
And it's a punting situation now for the Green Bay Packers. As Forrest Gregg chose to send Randy Wright deep left and deep right on successive plays. Don Bracken on to punt, Dana McLemore to receive it. And he waits at the 10. 3:58 to go, 3rd quarter.
Oh! Good pressure up inside.
Nice punt. Bounces back to the 12. It'll be down there. And what a contrast to the first half when the 49ers enjoyed superb field position.
That's right, Bert.
In this half, it's been Green Bay which has had the field position edge.
49ers now have to get back to doing what they were doing real well in that first quarter. The short play action passing, mix in with the run. Go ahead and don't try to score in one play. Just take their time to move the football. Green Bay defense gaining momentum.
1st and 10, 49ers. 3:48 to go. They lead it 16-12 in the 3rd quarter. Jerry Rice. They hand it off to Craig. Out to the 17-yard line. John Anderson makes the tackle. Coming up next Saturday on CBS, we tip off our basketball coverage for the season. Louisville against Kentucky at 1:30 Eastern time, and congratulations to Eddie Sutton's bunch on their overtime win yesterday. And that game will be followed by our first NBA telecast of the season at 3:30 Eastern time. The Houston team goes in to take on the Chicago Bulls next Saturday on CBS. 2nd and 5, 16-12, 49ers. Montana has cooled off considerably. Rathman hit behind the line, and Johnny Holland gets second contact and knocks him out of bounds. But the clock continues to run as he was down by contact before being forced out.
Here's the nose guard play again in the National Football League. 61, Jerry Boyarski. Randy cross center, blocks away from him, being blocked down by the offensive guard, Bruce Colley. Now he moves back inside out. And Dick Modzelewski, the defensive coordinator, says this guy, Boyarski, is one of the old time. He could have played in the old days in the NFL. Pain doesn't bother him, the hardest worker, most character of anybody I've got on defense.
3rd and 6. Blitz. Montana nailed. And the pass dropped. And Joe Montana was crunched right after he let it go. Jerry Rice dropped it.
I think that was Mark Murphy, number 37, that got to him. Now you can see the defense is crowding the line of scrimmage. Here comes Murphy to the right side of the screen. There he is. He got rid of it nicely, but it's just out of reach, Jerry. And Jerry normally catches that football. That wasn't so far out in front of him that he can't make that play.
Max Runiger will punt again as the 49er offense has run into a hurricane in the form of the Packer defense.
Great punt. That's a good punt.
Walter Stanley at the 35. Now he's out of bounds after losing 10 yards.
Good
and
punt
Ron
by Max
Heller made
Runiger.
the tackle. Rams-Lions are also having a heck of a tussle today. Let's find out what's going on there. Here's Brent.
For a little daylight for the Los Angeles Rams, and Jim Everett is enjoying his best day ever yet passing. He'll wind up with 300-plus yards for the Los Angeles Rams. This one's easy. The corner loses Henry Ellard, 81 yards for the score, 27-16 L.A. Back to Vern.
All right, Brent, 2:09 to go third quarter here, 16-12. 49ers clinging to a narrow lead. It has been all Green Bay in this half, though they've got only the one touchdown. Ed West in motion. Paulot Carruth comes right. Oh, you heard that hit.
You heard that one.
Tim McKyer, number 22. And again, the Packers are playing with Brent Fullwood and Kenneth Davis on the bench. Fullwood is in uniform, Davis on the inactive list. So Carruth and Jesse Clark carrying the running load today.
What the Green Bay Packers are doing is setting the tight end to get the defense to set their front, and then sending him in motion and running to where he was originally lined up.
16-12, San Francisco, second down and 3. Clark, that is short of the first down at the 39. Well, we mentioned field position, and look how it's changed from the first half when the Packers took over at their own 18 on the average. This time it's almost exactly reversed.
It looks like we just switched the helmets.
Yeah.
That's all, really.
49ers at their own 18 and the Packers at their own 45. Now they have scored only the one touchdown in this half, and we've got 1:34 to go third quarter. 3rd and 1. They're 1 of 9 on third down conversions.
First down. First down.
That will move the chain. Von Horst and Walter with a tackle.
On that kind of running play, Vern, the big thing is the offensive line has got to keep the line of scrimmage clean and not allow penetration. You get penetration on something like that, then you don't make that first down.
That offensive line with Ken Rutgers, Rich Moran, Mark Cannon, Ron Hallstrom, and Keith Euchre in there. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Final 55 seconds of the third quarter.
You know, Dwayne Board has been back in there playing this quarter at defensive end, so obviously not hurt badly in the first quarter.
Play fake, right. Charles Haley, right still loose.
That should be intercepted.
Frankie Neal. Ronnie Lott has it. As Wright woefully underthrew a wide open Frankie Neal.
Well, he runs a play-action pass. Everything is sound. He's going to make a play-action fake as he comes off right in there. Freeze the linebackers, come out of it, looks deep, it's not there. Now he has good action, gets the block. Now here comes number 94, Charles Haley. He gets the heat on him. Now he's scrambling out. Now this is a bad decision. Bad decision right there to try to wing that one. You're better off just throwing the ball out of bounds. Bad decision.
And as a result, the 49ers take over at the 25. Montana.
Robert Brown beat Bubba Parrish to the outside. Robert Brown, that's his third sack this year.
And that will bring on what should be the final play of quarter number 3. Second sack of the game for the Packers. I think they're going to let the quarter expire.
Yeah.
There's a difference of 1 second on the 30-second clock and the game clock. So the quarter will expire before the next play is run. That's the end of the third quarter with our scores. San Francisco 16 and Green Bay 12. We now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, maker of the Accord LXI four-door sedan. McDonald's, it's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Crowd is alive as the Packers are very much in the ball game, and the 49ers lead as we begin the final quarter, facing a 2nd down and 16 with a 16-12 margin. Here comes the rush. Montana gets away from it. John Frank can't hang on. It'll be 3rd and 16. As Frank had to dive low, Joe Montana with great agility behind the line.
Green Bay Packers have done a real good job of taking away the outside receivers. You see they're up playing them tight right now. Normally they've been going back out too deep zone with the safeties and backing them out. Shutting them down, forcing them to go back to the inside people. You can see the safeties working, doubling up both outside receivers, forcing you to go back inside just where Joe went with the football.
3rd and 16. Blitz. Murphy's coming. Montana delivers it to nobody. 4th and 16.
Yeah.
Flag is down.
Yeah, I think there was an offensive lineman down the field.
That's the call.
I think Sapullo, number 61, was downfield.
Ineligible receiver, number 77,
77,
downfield, declined, 4th down.
Murphy's coming right here at a safety blitz, and they go ahead and get the screen off anyway. Here he comes. See, they're coming after him. Now the center of your screen, you see the offensive lineman, Big Bubba Paris, got downfield on the screen.
And Max Runniger is on the punt. Stanley waits for it at the 40. 49ers were coming, no flag, and a fair catch called by a diving Walter Stanley at the 48-yard line. And again, terrific field position following a very short 28-yard punt.
That punt was very close to being blocked.
57,000 on hand at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. They have more than enjoyed themselves as the 49ers came in and jumped to a 16-3 lead. But in this second half, the Packer defense has played very well. The Green Bay offense, despite good field position, has been able to score just 1 touchdown. And then they missed the extra point. Jesse Clark wrapped up.
Jim Ponhorst did a real nice job of filtering his way through the line of scrimmage. He shut off the cutback and then played the play inside out and made the play defensively. Good job by Jim Ponhorst.
2nd down and 8.
What's that?
There is a booming sound coming from somewhere, and I don't know.
Oh.
I haven't been here in 20 years. That wasn't here last time. Randy Wright.
Got it. Good job.
At the 45, Michael Carter makes the tackle.
Good pass rush.
That's a tough spot, isn't it, that nose guard spot?
Oh, it is. Here they are with a good outside rush. Charles Haley, 94, in the right corner of your screen, gets a good outside push outside. Dwayne Board, 76, coming up outside. Now it forces him up inside. Now Michael Carter comes off the offensive right guard and makes the play. Good job by Michael Carter.
That brings up another 3rd and long, 3rd and 7. And 2 of 11 on 3rd down conversions for the Packers. Here again, they've got great field position at the 45. 4-man rush, right, left side, a diving Pasquette.
First down.
And he got the first down at the 36-yard line. 37, make it.
He came in motion across the formation, just went out there and headed for the first down area, and here he comes for the first down. He comes across in motion here, now he'll come up and work for the flag. Here he comes now, watch him work for the first down. He works out there, getting a little scrape off that man-to-man. He actually picked the defender following him at that time.
Catch made by Keith Basquette, a rookie from Western Kentucky University. 1st and 10. Ed West, the tight end, in motion. Flag is down as Haley was offside. And Carruth goes right to the 33.
That tight end motion is fouling up 49er defense right now. That's the 2nd time they put him in a position, brought him in motion.
Number 94, defense, offside, 1st down.
Then go ahead and toss the ball back to where the man left. See, the tight end was lined up here. He's coming in motion. Now they're going ahead and running back over there. 2nd time, and both times it's been effective. See him, the linebacker's out of position now. He's following the tight end.
Bill Walsh said of Charles Haley yesterday, he's got a case of sophomoritis. Look at the yardage difference in the halves. The 49ers with 3:02 in the first half, 33 this time, and Green Bay now with 121 thus far. 1st and 5, and again West in motion. Jesse Clark inside the 30 to the 28. Dwayne Board makes the tackle.
Using the tight end, Green Bay is effectively in moving the point of attack and getting him right in front of that linebacker, blocking him after coming across the formation. Doing a good job of changing up.
Packers come in 4-6-1, and the 49ers 9-2. It'll be 2nd and 1. That's the time remaining in the ball game. 11:50. Ball on Carruth, 1st down. What a nice run that was. Just put his head down and dove through.
It appeared to be just a little counteraction in the backfield. Straight man-to-man blocking up in the 30. The fullback works this way. The halfback works right up in behind the blocks of the offensive lineman. There it is. Now he hands it off right up inside. See, gets a good push by the Mike Cannon 58 on the nose guard. And the nose guard in this case is Doug Mikolas, number 97, not Michael Carter, 95.
That's a 1st down, the 16th of the ball game for the Packers. They have it at the 25.
And Carter's back in the game.
11:10 remaining. Paulot Carruth gets a block from Jesse Clark and a couple of 3 yards. In the first half, we talked about how Green Bay had gotten off to quick starts in games this year, but had folded in the stretch. And there's, again, the graphic demonstration of it. And today, they have not given up any points. You said you thought they needed to have something happen in the 2nd half.
Well, remember, in the 3rd quarter, they get the turnovers and that thing, and they get some momentum. They start stopping the 49ers. They start believing a little bit more in themselves. Hey, we can beat these guys.
2nd and 7. Randy Wright lets it go. Intercepted. Ronnie Lott.
2nd one. No.
The 2nd interception of the ball game for Ronnie Lott.
Here he is, and in the same situation. Last time they threw the interception, they had the ball moving. This time he does the same thing. They have a drive going. He gets pressured by Michael Carter, playing super football today, throws it downfield. Here comes Ronnie Lott, getting his 35th pass interception in his career.
The turnovers are now even at 4 apiece. Thus far in the game, Joe Montana has accounted for 256 total yards, thrown for 1 and ran for 1, but most of that in the first half. We've had 8 turnovers, and Zendejas has hit 2 field goals, 16-12, 10-26. The problem, I think, Dick, is that the Green Bay defense playing so well, but the Packer offense hasn't been able to capitalize on all these opportunities.
There's no question about that, but right now the 49er offense has to rejuvenate themselves and get going. The Green Bay defense is just taking it away from them.
1st down at the 8. Officially, they'll call it the 9. Joe Cribbs goes left and loses a yard.
Good outside linebacker play by Timmy Harris, 97.
And Brian Noble uses that outside play to make the tackle.
49ers actually do a better job than anybody I've seen this year of gaining yards, running the ball, moving laterally with their sweeps. They did an awfully good job last week against Cleveland. They attempted it here. Tim Harris forces the ball back inside. No gain.
Montana now 23 of 32 for 227, but he was 19 of 22 at the half. Play fake. Oh, boy, was that close. Alfonso Carruth had visions of a safety.
Carruth, that was a sucker-type play. Carruth's lined up right here. Joe fakes the toss over. He wants to come out here and fool everybody and hit the tight end on the cross. Carruth did not go for the fake. See, they don't block him on that. That's a design play, and it was very effective last week, and I've seen it very effective in the past. Defense this time by Alfonso.
Looks a lot better going forward than he did backward.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I was impressed at how well Joe moved that time.
3rd and 6. 9:43 to go in the ball game. 16-12 49ers.
Here comes the straight safety blitz again.
Mark Murphy. 4th down.
This is about the 3rd time on 3rd and long that they have run the strong safety blitz, and they just happen to be running the play. Here he comes. Now he's going to work in here, and he'll hit the running play right at the point of attack. See him moving. Here he comes. There he is. He's going inside. There's the run. He works right in behind the pulling lineman, gets the play minus yardage. Have to punt the football. Now you find out what kind of character your punter has, kicking out of his own end zone.
10-man front for the Packers. They almost blocked the last one. Stanley waits at the 50. They are not coming. The return is on.
Good punt.
Pretty good punt, but he's got a chance to return it. Fumble!
I think 49ers got it.
Yes!
Big turnover by the special teams.
And the deflation in this crowd is incredible.
Turnover in a kicking game, Byrne, just eats you alive trying to win a football game. See, now they lost field position and have the ball. 49ers have it. Here it is. Now see the ball in the outside. He's swinging it out there like a loaf of bread. Get it back there. Stanley, he dropped it before anybody hit him. He dropped it before contact.
5th turnover of the ball game for the Packers. 8:50 to go. 49ers get the ball back.
He fumbled.
Fumble.
It must be cold down there.
But the runner was ruled down before the fumble occurred. And so the 49ers retain possession. 9 turnovers on this chilly day. The weather really hasn't been terrible.
Vern, I've been keeping track for a number of years of the turnover factor and the outcome of the ball game. When you're -2 in a ball game, you lose 3 out of 4 times. Meaning if you turn the ball over 2 more times than your opponent.
And right now, the Packers are -1.
Oh, great defensive play. Alfonso Carruth, that time he just roared up and stuffed the offensive tackle. Just knocked Harris Barton right back into the backfield. Alfonso, here he is right here, and he just whips. Listen, it's the offensive guard that he whips, not the tackle. He just knocked the heck out of Bruce Colley, number 69.
3rd and 5. This will be a touchdown in his 10th consecutive game. That is 1 short of the National Football League record held by Elroy, Crazy Legs Hirsch, and Buddy Dial.
Can you believe that? They had a man up, bump and run on him. David Brown, number 32, is up tight on there. See, now he's right here. He forces him back to the inside. He comes underneath the safety and hits it on the slant pattern, goes right between both safeties. Here he is, see? Sets it, see him bump there, force back, just like you're supposed to. He stuck it right in between the linebacker and the corner. Right now, Stills, the safety, overran that play. He should have been in position to make it. Same thing happened to the Cleveland safety last week. Good offensive execution.
That is the 15th touchdown for Jerry Rice in 1987. The extra point is good. And the helium might have gone out of the Packer balloon. The last game he played in which he did not catch a touchdown was December 14th, 1986. Jerry Rice has now caught a touchdown in 10 consecutive games. That is 1 off the all-time record. He's caught 15 this season. That's only 3 off the NFL season record held by Mark Clayton. And here come the Packers. Walter Stanley, who's fumbled on the punt return, set up the touchdown toss. Montana to Jerry Rice, and Montana has now thrown for 29 this year.
Joe Montana put that ball right where he had to put it. Now you'll note that The defender, Brown, is up here, going to force him back to the inside, and the safety going to back him up deep. He comes off the ball. The linebacker playing inside will work inside out. Johnny Holland, number 50. See him force him in there. Now, right there, he's in between the corner who's rolled up and the linebacker moving out, and the safety, in this case, made a mistake and rotated too wide. He didn't have to be over there. He should have been right here. Rice takes advantage of it. The ball put right where it had to be put. He gets right up inside that zone and splits it. Shows the speed that he has. And, you know, Stills in the locker room the other day was commenting. He thought the Cleveland free safety made a mistake and gave him a couple touchdowns. Well, Ken Stills just made the same mistake. Don't overrun Jerry Rice.
First and 10, Green Bay, now trailing 23-12 with 7:20 to go. Try the reverse. Walter Stanley.
This guy can fly.
Down at the 46-yard line. Ronnie Lott makes the tackle. That's a gain of 16.
Toss the ball to Paulette Carruth there.
Atlanta is still leading Dallas in quest of its 3rd win of the year. And Washington now rolling over St. Louis by 14. Kansas City leads Cincinnati. And Houston over San Diego in the 3rd quarter. First down and 10. Into the flat, Jesse Clark. That's a pickup of 4 to the 50-yard line. 6:25 and counting. Randy Wright with 3 interceptions. 2 by Ronnie Lott inside the 30-yard line that thwarted Packer offensive drives. But the big play here was the fumble by Walter Stanley. On the punt return after the 49ers had been backed up again. They have not done much in this half offensively. The 49ers haven't. Saved the 57-yard touchdown toss to Jerry Rice. 2nd and 6. Right, Ed West. First down, 42. And Jeff Fuller and Ed West get after each other, and there's no flag thrown.
Ed West, number 86, coming from right here. Now note they'll put the action to the right in the backfield, trying to keep everybody thinking right, and then he comes out with a ball throwing away from the flow of the backs. So keep everybody flowing that way. Now you get the isolated one-on-one situation. Strong safety Jeff Fuller comes up and makes the play.
Ed West's first catch today, good for 7 yards and a first down. 1st and 10 at the 42. 5:13 to go in the game. Right. Walter Stanley to the 36.
Randy Wright coming into the ball game, he said, I'm not as concerned with the 49er defense physically. I'm concerned with all their deployments. They can whip you by making a mistake in misreading everything they do with their scheme. Very tough scheme to attack.
2nd down to 3, 4:35 to go in the game. Right behind the intended receiver, Paulette Carruth. And Ronnie Lott was shadowing him, or Jeff Fuller, rather.
Good pressure, Dave Board, and in there, good pressure.
.427 on the clock. And a 23-12 San Francisco lead. Carruth is on the bench. Bill Walsh prowls the sideline. Shotgun formation. Right. Almost intercepted.
Good defense. Jeff Fuller almost had the batted pass, Bird.
That's right. Intended for Patrick Scott, number 83, and Fuller was defending.
Direct your attention to the left side of your screen, about halfway up. Shotgun formation. Gets pretty good protection here initially. Now he fires it right in there. Now it goes up in the air, and then Fuller comes from the left side, right in the middle. He almost gets... Actually, the receiver did a nice job in this case of knocking down that ball and preventing it. Pat Scott did a good job preventing the interception.
4th and 3, and the Packers will go for it, trailing by 11. Incomplete.
That's a funny 4th down and 3 call.
Sure was.
The coverage might have dictated he go there with the ball. Ronnie Lott, number 42, a safety. They had him up here. He's coming. He's down to 3-point stance. They're trying to get heat on him. They did get pressure. Here he is. He's the safety. He's coming underneath the pass protection. Now you see the delay in the corner. They're going for the big play, Vern.
49ers get the ball back with 4:17 to go. On 4th and 3, Randy Wright tried to go deep, but it may have been a good call and just pretty good defense, Dick.
Well, I think the defense took away the underneath stuff, so he went to the corner pattern beyond that short stuff.
Joe Cribbs gets the carry now as the 49ers will work on the clock. Jerry Boyarski makes the tackle. 4:05 to go in the game. And what had been a tenacious struggle opened up a little bit by the explosive catch of Jerry Rice on the great throw from Joe Montana.
Put it right where he had to put it, right in between two people.
And the crowd has started to filter out. 49ers, 401 yards. Sweep to the right. Cribbs again. Mark Lee, the defensive back, out of the University of Washington. Had a chance to chat with him.
He's an interesting guy. I got to know him when I recruited him to UCLA, and he went up to the University of Washington. I went to Philadelphia Eagles. But in the off-season, he and his brother in the Berkeley area run 3 juvenile delinquent homes. That's what they do in the off-season.
For young girls?
For young girls, yeah. One of them's called King Street. That's for the girls that are really in tough problems. And then they have the next advanced stage, the Ashby House. And that's for their people, they're coming, they're solving their problems. And the next one is the Berkeley Academy. And from the Berkeley Academy, they go out into society. And no, it's amazing what you find in the locker room in the NFL football. You know, guys that are more than just football players.
Timeout has been called by the Packers. Next week, a doubleheader for you on CBS. In Game 1, most of you will see the Cowboys against the Redskins. Others will watch Minnesota against Green Bay. That begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time. And then the second game, the Giants against St. Louis, or others of you will watch Atlanta against the Los Angeles Rams. So check the local listings for the game in your area. And Bill Walsh in the sidelines, about to go 10-2 for the year. And back home for the final 3 games of '87. Against Chicago, against Atlanta, and against the Rams.
That Chicago game will be a great football game.
I would imagine.
2 very explosive teams, 2 very competitive quarterbacks, 2 darn good defensive football teams.
I think Mr. Ditka and his troops are probably watching in Minnesota today.
I promise you they'll be ready.
Tight end catch. Brent Jones, who was just activated.
That's the 3rd fumble by John Frank if they give it to him.
Now this is Brent Jones instead of Frank.
Oh, excuse me. Tight ends are having a problem today. Brent Jones was just activated. Santa Clara graduate, University of Santa Clara.
I don't think they're going to give it to him.
The player was down by contact. The whistle blew. The ball belongs to San Francisco.
Brent Jones made the catch.
Here he is to the left side of your screen, working up, trying to hit. He's already made the 1st down. Now he's just excited about making more yards. Gets put down right there. Yeah, he's down. No fumble.
Rookie from Santa Clara, and just activated yesterday, replacing Russ Francis, who's on the injured reserve list. Speaking of which, as the 49ers run the ball, and Jerry Boyarski, if indeed this turns out to be Russ Francis's final year, boy, there are a lot of folks in this league who will miss him and his contribution.
There'll be a lot of defensive coaches be glad he's gone.
That's
too.
right.
You know, I think Bill Walsh right now is going through, you know, he's real loyal to his players. He is, especially the old veterans that have played through the Super Bowl teams and that kind of, and the Super Bowl wins, and he doesn't forget it. And it really is tough for him to replace those guys with the younger players, and it's also tough for the veteran. It really is.
Yep.
He's going through it. You know, he's got the Von Horsley, a veteran offensive tackle. He had the John Ayers earlier in the year, who's now a backup at the Denver Broncos and that stuff. But he's going through the transition of incorporating younger players. And Bob McKittrick's done a heck of a job 3 times rebuilding this offensive line within 1 season.
How tough was it for you to cut a vet?
Oh, it really tough. See, the thing, the difference in college ball and pro ball, college ball, your veterans graduate. Pro football, they don't graduate. They stay there 5, 6, 7 years old. And regardless of what a player thinks, a coach appreciates that kind of a contribution. And when it comes time to say, hey, you're just not as good as you used to be, it is tough.
How about the Colts over Cleveland, 9-7.
Oh,
Indianapolis. Second down, Montana back. Roger Craig.
look at that.
First down, 49ers at the 34.
There's another guy that has that lean and reachability. See his body, the forward body lean, good balance, good knee action. You really got to hit him with your shoulder pads. He comes out of the backfield. You know, he touches the ball. Here he is. Comes out of the ball, 2 tight end formation. Comes out of the formation. Wants to go downfield, doesn't like what he sees. He just throws it out there. Now watch this. One man miss. Now watch the forward body lean. See the shoulder pads down, the knee action. Tough to tackle that guy.
Packers have used all of their timeouts, cannot stop the clock, so this should be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Harry Sidney goes left, hauled down by Timothy Harris. Coming up later this afternoon, one of the late starting games is Tampa Bay and New Orleans, and here's a note we've just been handed. Ray Perkins is going with Vinny Testaverde as he's starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That'll be, I tell you, everybody knows he's going to be a great player. I'll be curious to see how he does today.
2-minute warning. 49ers comfortably on top by 11. Forrest Gregg's team out of timeouts.
Us guys at Miller Lite usually kid around, but since it's the holidays, we'd like to get a little serious.
Yeah. Have a very Merry Christmas.
Joyeux Noël.
Feliz
Navidad.
Yeah, thanks.
To family
And friends.
Even to quarterbacks.
We wish you health.
Happiness.
And peace.
There you go, Uke.
thanks, guys. Great seat. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Final 2 minutes of what has been a very well played game here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And there are a few 49er faithful up there in the stands.
You know, Vern, I really evaluate it as more of an intense, tight game. But when you have all those turnovers as a coach, you never consider that a real well-played game. You know what I mean?
I get your
I'm
point.
not playing on your words or anything like that, but you get upset when you turn the ball over that much.
9 turnovers so far. Here's Joe Cribbs down at the 30-yard line.
And both teams have turned it over.
I would, if I had to do it over, and if you'll give me a chance, I will. I'll say close ball game instead of well played.
Okay, but there's been a lot of good plays.
Yeah.
A lot of fine individual plays and good. You can't play any better than the 49ers did early in the ball game offensively. But they lost their edge, and sometimes that edge is lost because the defensive team keeps getting better. They figure out what you're doing. They make adjustments. They get after you, gain momentum. They gain confidence. Green Bay is not far away from being a challenger in this division.
Final 120, 3rd and 6. And Rathman carries up the middle. That'll be short of the first down. So at least one more play for the 49ers, who will no doubt go for it on 4th down as the clock continues to unravel. 49ers and Bill Walsh travel back home for their final 3 games before the playoffs.
You mentioned Testaverde, number 8, Steve Young, used to own that job.
Tell you something else, when he did 2 years ago this weekend, Tampa Bay played here.
Yeah.
And they had a 14-inch snowfall.
Yeah.
Young said it was the worst conditions he'd ever played in his life.
He said in coming to the 49ers, he says, I've died and gone to quarterback heaven.
Not much doubt that he's the heir apparent, and he's perfect. I think a lot of people feel, Dick, and I'm sure you do.
Oh, yeah, I really respect his talent. He's a bright young man. You know, there's no better place for that kind of a quarterback to be than in San Francisco.
49ers have clinched a playoff spot. They go 10-2. New Orleans playing Tampa Bay. That game just getting started. The Rams and Atlanta trail. The 49ers are in the playoffs, and they will have no worse than a tie for the best record in the league.
You know, with Testaverde starting in Tampa Bay, against New Orleans, he's really not like a rookie. This is late in the season. He's had a lot of practice work. He's probably going to perform a lot better than he would have if they started him early.
Joe Montana throws for 2. The key was a 57-yard pass to Jerry Rice in the 4th quarter. And that opened it up and gave Bill Walsh and the 49ers a 23-12 victory. Final score here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The 49ers 23 and the Green Bay Packers 12. Will return with more right after this.
He came back and he threw a touchdown pass to Baker. And it looked like it was going to be easy when it was sitting on 20-6. All right, let me welcome those of you who've been watching San Francisco beat the Green Bay Packers. Here's the drama of the moment. The Eagles have tied the New York Giants on a Randall Cunningham touchdown pass. They have scored twice now within the last 4 minutes. Let's take everybody to the scoreboard and get you up to date with all the scores before we return to that one. Atlanta upsets Dallas 21-10. Marion Campbell gets the nod as the NFC Coach of the Day, at least for that effort in that one. The Falcons score 2 touchdowns within 13 seconds of the first half. They make it stand up. Meanwhile, the Washington Redskins are going to win the NFC East again. Behind Jay Schrader's leadership in the second half, what a great second half quarterback he has been the last 2 Sundays, the Skins lead the Cardinals 34-23. Kansas City and Cincinnati. The Chiefs rallied in the second half. It looked as though the Bengals might find another way to lose a game, but they have regained the lead in that one, 27-24. San Diego and Houston. This would mark the 3rd straight loss for the Chargers. Are they going to fall completely out of playoff contention? They are in full retreat right now, and the Oilers have whipped them clean, 33-11 the count there. Seattle and Pittsburgh, beware the Steelers. They're now tied for first in the AFC Central. They down the Seahawks 13-9. The Seahawks lose 2 in a row to the Raiders on a Monday night, and today to Pittsburgh. Indianapolis and Cleveland. This was the most important game of the day in the AFC, and the Colts move all alone for the moment into first in the AFC East by upsetting the Browns 9-7 in that game. The Bills right now are just underway against the Raiders. The Rams and the Lions. Jim Everett's best day ever, 37-16. Let's hear from the young man who is maturing as the Rams leader. And here's Jack Buck. Jack?
Thank you very much, Brent Musburger. There was our final 37-16 at the half. We didn't know it was going to turn out that way. One thing you have to say about the Detroit Lions was they tried like heck before it crumbled out from under them. They led by the score of 13-10 at the half. And Dan Jiggets wants to talk with Jim Everett. First of all, Jim, your figures, 20 out of 26, your first 300-yard game, 324, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Nice going today.
Thank you very much. I just want to say I had a lot of help in that effort, and a lot of people did a lot of good things.
Jim, we're going to run to one thing very quickly, and this is the touchdown pass that you threw to Henry Ellert. Just walk us through it if you can. Just take a look at your monitor down there.
All right. Well, what happened was a good play fake by Charlie White, rolling to the right, good blocking. Henry Ellert gave a good play fake. Guy hit my arm right there. I don't know if you could see the ball, but Henry Ellert came in and made a great catch. One of those lucky ones that you get every once in a while, but he did a terrific job, and from there he took it in.
Now, Jim, you said somebody hit your hand. Is that the reason why it wasn't a tight spiral?
Exactly. I mean, that thing was open for hunting season, and that was probably the biggest duck of the day.
And Bobby Watkins slipped and fell. Jim, you're enjoying the Los Angeles scene, and the people tell me that you're really out in the forefront there and enjoying everything that's going on, and you're getting better and better game by game.
Well, you know, it's nothing that surprised me as far as, you know, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about my receivers. Heck, in practice, they've been doing these types of things, and they're improving, and it's fun to work with, and now we're starting to do it in the games.
And they got Henry Ellert into the scheme of things today. Thanks, Jim Everett.
Thank you.
And back to New York, and Brent Musburger in the studio.
Jack, you know, Nerve Cross, I want to say something about that trade, Eric Dickerson. That trade has turned out to be a good one for the Rams. First of all, I think it restored some morale out there. I think the players were upset now. And secondly, with Everett maturing, and they should have a couple of at least decent drafts. I know this is not a good year for the draft coming up, but they're going to get some help for young Everett.
Well, you know, they are pleased with his development. Early in the season, he had the worst rating in the National Football League I'd ever seen from a quarterback. The last 4 weeks, he's coming on very nicely. Today, 20 out of 26. That's a pretty good day's work.
Did you see Georgia down on the bench? I think I caught a shot of her in the first half. One of the first women owners I have seen down on a bench. All right, the Rams, good coaching job down there. Now, San Francisco and Green Bay, the final there, 23-12. So the 49ers wrap up at least a wild card. And it is 23-12. San Francisco ahead. That was the final score in that one as Joe Montana went on his record-setting pace. Now the games that are in progress, the Patriots and the Broncos are underway. They are scoreless in the first quarter of that one. Buffalo and the Raiders. Bo Jackson and a touchdown pass he's involved in. I'm not sure whether he just threw it or caught it. He caught the touchdown pass. I keep waiting for him, folks, to throw one. Believe me, he's got a great arm. 6-0. Bo Jackson scores again. Superman in football cleats, if you will. Now, the reason why the 49ers are not going to wrap up a division title, the New Orleans Saints explode at home. 14-0 over Tampa Bay. Let's take a look at how Hebert did it here with this touchdown pass to Tice. That made it 7-0, an 8-yarder. Then moments ago, Hebert on the roll, got the protection, hit John Tice for his second touchdown of the day. It is 14-0. Vinny Testaverde has started for the Buccaneers. Eagles and the Giants go to overtime. It was 20-6. Giants with the lead, and Eagles score twice. We're going to check in live and keep you up to date with that one when we continue with the post-game activities here on CBS in just a moment. Sports provides great moments, doesn't it? We've got 2 NFL games now in overtime. Moments ago, Lowry kicked a 32-yard field goal, so the Chiefs and the Bengals go to OT. The Giants and the Eagles getting ready. Meanwhile, Joe Montana, another record-setting performance, 23-12. Let's send you out live now, and let's hear from our hero.
23-12, Brent, the final score here as the 49ers had a very close ball game going into the fourth quarter, but Joe Montana hit Jerry Rice with a 57-yard touchdown run, or pass rather, and that did it. Joe is with us down on the field right now. And Joe, I know by now you have heard that you're in the record book by yourself. 22 consecutive completions. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. That's what this offense is all about. It gives you that opportunity. It's fun to be a quarterback in it.
I want to talk about your running style, though. The quarterback draw was really a big call in the second quarter.
Well, it definitely was. Coach Walsh had seen something early in the week about when we got down to the end zone. They were trying to pay their safeties out on and double cover and back up their safeties, their corners, and not leave them in bump and run, and leaving the middle wide open for the quarterback. There was nobody really there, and he made a great call.
Joe, in the second half, the offense slowed down a little bit. Now, and you got it going with a big play at the end, but did you change what you were doing or get away from what you were doing early in the game?
Well, I think a couple times we got the ball backed up and made things a little difficult. We tried to get a couple big plays early, and what ended up happening is Jerry would get bumped or something would happen down the field, and I'd have to hold a little longer than I really wanted to, and I tried to wait for him, and then we got sacked and kept getting the ball backed up, and then we didn't really want to make any bad mistakes like the interception and give them another chance. So then we kind of got away from what we were doing and just tried to pound out some first downs, and our defense played a heck of a game and held on there, until we got things rolling.
Okay, Joe, congratulations. You're in the playoffs again. Nice game today. Now let's go back to Brent Musburger in our New York studios.
All right, Vern and Dick, thank you very much. The 49ers with a win. Well, Irv, the NFC is pretty well set. Certainly Washington wins a division, and San Francisco appears headed there, and Chicago. Which of those 3 teams do you like to win the championship?
I'm going with San Francisco. That guy out there who set that record today, I think he can do it again in a big game.
You know what? I think the biggest game of the year might be next Monday night when the Bears have to go out there, because whoever can wind up with the home field of advantage in the championship game, if it comes down to the Niners and the Bears, that might be the key. We're going to continue. Remember, we've got a couple of games in overtime, including the Eagles and the Giants, and we'll have more in just a moment. All right, Irv, let's take everyone through the standings. I know there's some games still in progress, but at least we can shed a little bit of light on what's going on right now. And as you know, San Diego now has lost 3 straight games as a result of what's happening, and Seattle has lost a couple, and so Denver could come on and win a division championship out there. Kansas City involved in overtime. In the AFC Central, look at this now. Cleveland, with 2 straight losses, has fallen back into a tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers can win that division right now. And, of course, Houston would move up in there, too, and make that a 3-way tie in that. Make that a 3-way tie now with Houston dominating San Diego. Indianapolis at the moment is all alone in first. In the AFC East, Buffalo playing the Raiders. They must win, and the Jets have a Monday nighter against Miami. Now, in the NFC, in the West, San Francisco at 10-2. They can't completely shake New Orleans yet, but at least they have wrapped up a wild card. The Rams in Atlanta must wait until next year. In the NFC Central Division, the Bears at 9-2 have clinched a wild card, and they can win a division title by beating Minnesota tonight. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Detroit playing for next year. In the NFC East, the Washington Redskins wrap up a division championship today by beating St. Louis. Philadelphia and the Giants are in overtime. So we've had an injury in that game. The Giants and the Eagles are in overtime, and we'll have more on that confrontation in the Meadowlands in just a moment. All right, well, overtime in the Meadowlands could be a long one indeed. Neither team could move the ball on their first possession in overtime. Still 13 minutes to go. Now, early in this contest, with a stiff wind blowing, the Giants were able to open up a lead. And it was Phil Simms here hitting tight end Mark Bavaro in the end zone, 19 yards. Now, Simms and the Giants made it look easy. Folks, for a time, I didn't think this ball was ever going to come down. Simms had a lot of time. There's Baker. He's got it, and it was 20-6, all Giants at that point in the game. But they seemed to relax, Irv, and Randall Cunningham was able to rally the Eagles.
2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and of course Jimmy Giles making a big catch in the closing minutes to go into overtime.
All right, well, one of the things I want to remind everybody along the line that the affiliates tonight will have the winning score from that game for you on their local news, because that wraps up our post-game activities. We're going to be sending you back to the stadium and the game you watched. We hope you've enjoyed the NFL Today here on CBS. We'll see you next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern. So long, everybody.
57,000 were here. They have now gone home as the Green Bay Packers fall to 4-7-1 in 1987. And the San Francisco 49ers clinch a playoff spot, and they have at least a 1-game edge and maybe 2 over the New Orleans Saints, winning their 10th game of the regular season today, 23-12 the final. And it was a touchdown pass from Joe Montana to Jerry Rice that broke the game open late in the fourth quarter. Walter Stanley had fumbled a punt return as the Packers were threatening San Francisco with a go-ahead. Then on 3rd and 5, Montana went back and found Rice, who'd been bumped at the line, split a linebacker and the cornerback, and Ken Stills was out of position. Jerry Rice went 57 yards for the touchdown. That is the 10th consecutive game in which he has caught a touchdown pass. That is one off the league record held by Elroy Hirsch and Buddy Dial. So 10 games in a row for Jerry Rice, and the key touchdown toss in the win. 23-12 was the final here as the 49ers go to 10-2. Dick Vermeil, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Lambeau Field, where the final score was 23-12 49ers. Next week, doubleheader action on CBS. Most of you will see Dallas against Washington, followed by the Giants at St. Louis, plus other regional action. Next Saturday, the season premiere of NCAA basketball. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
The NFL Today post-game show has been sponsored by Miller Lite, proud sponsor of NFL Lineman of the Year. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite.